Renee, drop them keys. Woo!
Yes.
We are ready. We are ready. Thank you, DJ and Busy. We're gonna catch you later on tonight, man. Thank you for blessing us. So I've been waiting for this interview for a few weeks now. Been prepared for it, you know. And when we bring people into the Keys to Black Wealth interview platform, you know, we want to ask questions that mainstream media doesn't really ask a lot of times, right? They're doing it for clicks, likes, all it is. We're doing it for tangibles. We want to get into tangibles. But before we even get into the tangibles, look, I was doing some background on you, right? Found out you from Youngstown, Ohio.
Westlake
Project in Youngstown, Ohio, with the Central State University. I was up the road at Wright State University.
Yes, I saw that. You know what we used to call Wright State? I'm sorry, yeah. Dave, I have to tell you. We used to call it White State.
White State Royal College?
I can't talk. I went to Wittenberg, so I mean, I ain't got no comeback. I ain't got
no clout like you. You know, HBCU Central State and HBCU Howard University. So if it was like a checklist on what it is to be black, like you like check marking all the lists, like all the credentials. So why do so many people check for your black card then? Like, why do you feel like everybody checking for your black card when you got this resume behind you?
When people do that, it comes out of pure ignorance because we have to be strategic. And because I operate at another level, they don't get how strategic I am. And so if you don't get it, you miss it. And I really connect with people who have a third eye, who understand that we have to be in all of these powerful rooms, that we have to move sometimes swiftly. Sometimes we have to make moves that aren't popular. But I'm the chick that's willing to take those risks and go into rooms in order to make things happen for my people and for my community.
I love it. Drop them keys. You know, it's so funny you said that. This has been a common theme all weekend long. The expense of ignorance. The expense of ignorance. We just had a speaker prior to you and they kind of said the same type of thing. So that's really interesting. I hope everybody's tuning in on that. You know, really the first financial awareness, the first key is financial awareness, and that ignorance is going to have a price tag to it. So
I mean, really, can we go to the next level if we're just operating with people who are just like us? I love where I'm from. I love Youngstown. I love Northside, particularly. I love Rand High School. But in order for me to empower my people, my family who still lives in Youngstown, I had to go into places where there weren't people who looked like me. And sometimes being in those rooms were extremely uncomfortable, but I still had to go in order to come back and lift my folks up. So, I mean, that's just how it is.
Yeah, I love that. I feel the same way. When Wittenberg University had a complete culture shock because I went to East High School, 99% black, lived in a black neighborhood, and then flipped and went to Wittenberg University. But I appreciate my experience because it taught me some things, and it also taught me how to navigate, you know what I'm saying, through this capitalist society. So I'm vibing with you, sis. I'm vibing with you on that. So before we jump into any deeper, because clearly we already jumped in, let's talk about, we done jumped in. Let's jump out a little bit. Talk to us about who you are. How did you arrive to Omarosa, who you are today? What's your journey been like?
Thank you so much for asking me, P. You know, you mentioned I grew up in Youngstown, Westlake Projects. My mother, my father truly were in love. My father was killed when I was 9 years old. And I saw my mother go from being in university. She was at Youngstown State studying, childhood education, and she had to go work in the factories because my father was killed. And she had to provide for 4 kids. So watching her work ethic taught me that no matter what happens to you in life, that you got to still pull yourself up and you've got to press for it. And I watched her press and press and press. My mother literally worked in a plastic factory where she would come home with burns on her hands because she needed to provide for us. And she was so determined and focused to make sure that we weren't going to stay in the projects. And as a result, she did. She worked hard. It was just incredible because we had an incredible foundation. But moreover, I had a huge family. I grew up in the New Grace Missionary Baptist Church family. Faith was the center of everything that we did. My grandmother did not play. And I believe that that's what led me to the ministry because I grew up in such a strong faithful, God-centered family. I graduated from Rand High School, went to Central State University, where I majored in broadcast, radio, and television. I was just so determined I was going to be a weather girl. And I did a lot of things. I went there on a volleyball scholarship, extremely competitive. I was also in the ROTC, and I also was on, of course, the radio station there, WCSU, and I became Miss Central State, which was my absolute dream, to be a Black college queen.
All right, teams for that.
Central was perfect for me because I was allowed to do all of the things that I was passionate about. I was able to be in student government. I was able to be in the Black Student Union. I was able to be a part of all of the organizations that developed me into the woman that I am. So by the time I got to Howard, I was ready. And so I went straight to Howard University, where I also majored in mass comm, and I started to really operate in the political spaces. I wanted to work in the White House, and I knew that the first time I went to the White House that I was going to end up in the Oval Office. And so my first job out of Howard University,
attraction.
my first job out of Howard University was working for Gore's office, and then I would go on to work for Clinton's office. But I was very, very determined, and I was grateful for how hard my mother worked, but at some point I knew I had to start providing as well. And so I started working in real estate for a company called Charles E. Smith. That's where my real estate bug happened. Okay. Fast forward, I'm out of the White House. You all know how that story ended with the dangling chads and the Supreme Court calling the election.
Yeah.
I applied for a show called The Apprentice. And there were millions of people applying, as Donald Trump would tell it. And I was selected. And I was the only African-American woman on the show. You all watched it. But the things that you don't know is that I had a mentor who said to me, if you go on the show, just do not let them forget your name. Whether you win or lose, do not let America forget your name. And so anytime you saw me on the show, I was like, oh, I know you're not trying to play Omarosa.
Right.
Omarosa came up with that.
Right.
Omarosa's in charge. Those are the lines that—
You better tell them, put some respect on my name.
And that's where the branding started. That's where I started branding very early, David, because you know the power of branding. You know how important it is. And so I started to kind of hone the Omarosa brand: strong, smart, determined, educated, unapologetically Black. People were like, oh, who is the sister in the boardroom negotiating these $1 million deals? And, the rest is kind of history. That was 17 years ago. And I don't know where the time has gone.
Wow.
7
flies.
I love it.
So go back to that point about like branding and marketing and making your name known. The world is real loud right now, especially with social media, so many different things. And if you're in business, like most of our attendees are, just talk to them about like the power of branding and marketing, some tangibles that they can get into so they can kind of stand above a lot of these other businesses out here.
David, that's an excellent question. I will tell you one of the things that I've always done in my career as a business owner, as a small business owner. I have never been captivated or held captive by what people think about me. And so, yes, people have opinions about me. Either they love me or they hate me, but they have an opinion. They know who I am. They know what I'm about. And so you have to have the courage to step out there boldly with your dream, with your ideas, take that innovation to the next level. You're going to have people in your own space who are not going to believe in you, who are not going to believe you're going to be able to accomplish what you set out. But you have to have the courage to make that first step. And so a big part of my brand of who I am is that I have boldly gone into places that you don't normally find us. There was, at one point, I was at the UN representing the United States, trying to give money and funds to countries that were suffering from famine. And I looked around the room, and not only was I the only American in the room, but there weren't very African-American women there. But I connected with a woman from Nigeria who said, I am so glad that you are here. It means a lot. That means that sometimes you have to take your business to the next level by thinking, forget about the box. We've done away with the box, B. I mean, Like we are above the box.
It's above us.
create platforms. Boxes close you in. Platforms you step up to the next level and the next level and the next level. I don't think outside of the box. I step on a platform. I take my ideas, my innovation, my energy, my ingenuity, and I move forward. So all those business owners who are at home in the middle of a global recession, in the middle of a pandemic, I'm telling you that there's an opportunity in this chaos. There's an opportunity particularly for us because people are underestimating you. They're underestimating how big your dreams are. And I can tell you that in this moment, everything that kind of broke down in the last 3 months broke down so that you could start from scratch and build the greatest, most amazing, powerful company we have ever seen.
That part. Drop some keys.
That's true.
So real quick, so that brings me to another question. So let's talk about the opposite of that. This Omarosa brand is strong, smart, unapologetically Black. What about those tough days? Because you've had some tough days, as David, intro, people checking for your Black card. I mean, I know that you have been in rooms that we can only imagine, and those spaces that you've been in, been there, and the only person that looks like you, who feels like you. How do you get through those moments?
I read an incredible story about Harriet Tubman, and there were slaves who thought Harriet Tubman was crazy. They thought she was insane. They thought that she was a rabble-rouser, that she was a troublemaker, that she didn't have any idea what she was doing, and they let her go. They said, we're going to stay right where we are and let you try to get to freedom. But they underestimated her vision. And so people check for me. If you check it for Harriet Tubman, like questioning her Black card, I don't take offense. When small-minded people question who I am and what I am about, because I know who I am, and it has never been defined by small-minded people. I need visionaries in my crew. I need visionaries. I need people who are willing to go and be trailblazers, who are willing to go into spaces we have never been. And so the people sitting back saying that she does not fit our definition or our mode of what Blackness is, you know what? To hell with them. Because I cannot be put in a box.
Can't be put in a box. I love it.
Omarosa, you can
that part.
Listen up, box.
So we were just talking about how we need to, I love how you just used the term above, because we were like, man, there's corporations with billions of dollars, there's the government with trillions, that can print trillions of dollars. And sometimes we try to go to, oh, my friends and family won't support me, or they won't fund me and all this stuff. When you got all this money up here, we want to go down here. Talk to us about leveling up and going to get that money, going to get that bag from these corporations and the government. And what do they want to see from businesses in order to give them that funding?
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I have a lot of friends who talk about their journey of being entrepreneurs. And one of the things that I did when I went to Howard School of Business is I became a certified executive education coach. So I'm an executive coach for corporate America. And one of the things that I talk to my clients about is that you have to tap a tree with fresh fruit, not dying fruit. So, and sometimes that requires you to climb into higher spaces to grab that ripe fruit. And so when you start asking about finding new paths to finance, to money, I think that the first part of that, and you've already done it, David and B, and I appreciate that, is the educational level of letting people know where the money is. It literally is sitting in front of you. I read an article about some of the groups that are fighting for justice, that they are getting so much money coming in because of corporate guilt, white guilt. Yep. So they're throwing money, right? People are trying to give Black businesses money, right? They're begging because, that white guilt is weighing on them. And so if you are a small business owner right now who has not approached every single major corporation saying, I have a plan for the inner city of this city or that city. I have a plan for helping to improve education, infrastructure, healthcare. I mean, right now it is ripe for the picking. but you have to have your packaging correct, right? So you have to know how to write grants. You need to know how to approach corporate donors. You need to know how to approach individual donors. And so much of that is empowering and educating yourself. And I know that that's what you all do. And so I have to tell you, I'm so impressed with the educational arm of Keys to Black Wealth. It's not just networking, giving this opportunity for us to connect, but you also hand people the tools. And so if you're a small business owner and you haven't taken an online class on how to write a grant right now, or how to get government contracts right now, or how to even take advantage of Goldman Sachs Small Business Incubator, it really would behoove you to take this time while we have a bit more time with the quarantine and the lockdown and that sort, to empower yourself with all of the things that you need to be equipped with to get the big money. But they're begging, they're looking for companies to give money to right now. And so now is the time.
Yeah, I said reparations have begun. Reparations have begun. So I'm like, hey, I need to be, I'm ready. I'm here for it. So whatever we got to do, we all about it. But like you said, the packaging must be correct. We cannot expect people to just give us money just because we're Black. That's not how it works. You got to be coming with a viable product, service. They got to entrust you with this money. So I'm glad that you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're coming out of COVID-19. We're in the middle of the economic crisis, health crisis. We got the protests happening right now. What are you anticipating? What's the next step? What are you anticipating is happening with the economy in the next 6 months? How can business owners kind of anticipate how to be prepared for like what is going to be needed?
Well, I always say that the best way to predict the future is to create it. So we have to create for ourselves what we want the next phase to look like. If we're sitting around waiting for another stimulus check, that's not the move, y'all.
Period.
That's not it. I'm going to tell you that if we work together collectively to create our own platform of wealth and share that wealth amongst ourselves, we don't have to worry about what the government is doing or even what the economy in terms of its rebound is doing. We have to create what the next phase of this situation looks like. And so much of that is really what we're doing here at the Keys, right? It's the networking, it's the offering and really sharing our services. I jumped into the vendors so I could go and look around a bit. And there are so many incredible vendors and small businesses that are a part of this conference. I'm honored to be a part of this conference because of the quality and the level of participants that you have.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate that. It's so funny. It's first of all, you a whole vibe and I love it and I appreciate it. So some keys for the vibe. But it's a lot of things that you're saying, we knew exactly what this would feel like for Keys to Black Wealth because we've been researching you. We followed you and you're speaking the same language as us. You know what I'm saying? We're all about creating the future for ourselves. And we're not really checking for somebody to invite us to their table. We're building our own. Which is why we have this global platform here today. And when COVID-19 hit, a lot of Black businesses, they laid down and died because they were waiting on the PPP or they didn't even have access or they weren't even prepared. If the access rolled down to them, they weren't prepared. I think it was 1 out of every 5 white business owners shut the doors, but 2 out of every 5 Black business owners had to shut their doors just in the last 90 days. There's been a huge economic shift. So as we talk about the Keys to Black Wealth and some of those principles, what's some nuggets that you can go into specifically about financial principles, about wealth principles, about economic principles?
One of my second or third jobs in the government was working for the Department of Commerce. And the Department of Commerce has programming for small business. And I know that you had someone else on talking about small business. But one of my really good friends, Ashley Bell, is a regional director for small business. And I'm dropping his name so that you can look him up and reach out to him. When you talk about nuggets, he literally reached out to me to say, oh, I know that you have a ton of executive coaching clients. Can you please ask them to put forth new opportunities? So the SBA doesn't just have grants and funds for current and existing businesses. They have funds for people who want to start new businesses. So let's just say you had to shut down your restaurant because of the quarantine. Now's the time for you to explore all types of new avenues. I'm just saying destiny delayed is not destiny denied. If you had to slow down because of COVID, you can recreate yourself. The one thing that people always talk about my career and why for 17 years I've been able to do what I do, it's because I remain fluid, right? When a situation changed, I continue to be fluid. So for the business owners out there who are aspiring or currently running, you have to remain fluid and find new ways and new avenues. In my coaching, I actually had to hire someone to help with resume writing because my executive clients who had been laid off, hadn't written a resume in ages.
Right.
So I had to go out and hire 5 or 6 resume writers. And there were 2 women that I approached who wasn't really resume writers. They were editors, but they had been laid off and they completely pivoted in their business. And so now they are providing me with all the services that I need for my executive clients to rewrite their CVs, write their resumes, repackage what they've accomplished so they can go out and find the next opportunity. So I'm just going to say to you, pivot, stay fluid, keep moving, because there truly are incredible opportunities in the midst of all of this chaos.
That's so key right there. And I want to pose this next question to you because we've seen you in the media, obviously, and I promise I watched maybe 25 to 30 interviews that you did. You know, that's just who I am. I just go in the lab all night and watch interviews, and it's crazy how mainstream media. You won't find this type of stuff too often in mainstream media, and our voices are not really heard. So what can you give us advice on just really getting our message out opposed to letting mainstream America paint us in certain pictures and certain images that we have to defend ourselves now? It's kind of funny because we got to represent every Black person. You see a Black person doing wrong and it's like, oh, is that your cousin? It's like, no, I don't even know them. Like, why are you associating me with them? Like,
you know, I think there was a time when I was always reluctant to share what I was working on, right? Because, you know, you never know how people are going to react or respond. But now when as you saw, David, when I do my interviews, I like to speak truth to power, but I also like to speak things into existence. And so when you watch the interviews, they only ask the same questions because they don't want to empower you to talk about new projects. But I'm going to say that you have to take every opportunity you can to promote. You could be in the grocery store and say, oh, I'm working on my new book, or I'm building a new restaurant, or I am starting this financial investment club. Have an opportunity. If you have an opportunity, take the opportunity. Promote. It's not bragging. I mean, you've watched enough of my interviews, David, where I am very proud of my accomplishments, but you're right. Mainstream media has kind of interpreted it as being arrogant. You know, when I brag about where I went to school or what I accomplished, yeah, I'm bragging because if I don't promote or celebrate my accomplishments, who will?
Right.
You have to do the same thing. You have to find an opportunity to do that. And some of the ways that you can do that are free and available. If you don't have constant contact, sending out your newsletters and updates during this time, you're missing an opportunity. You know, people talk about social media, but I think it's incredibly important to be strategic about how you use social media. I'm going to confess that I have been hit up so much by people wanting me to post stuff on my social media. Can you promote this? Can you promote that? I think that when you make offers like that as small business owners, you have to also reciprocate. So you have to also share what your friends are doing, promote what other people are doing and what they're trying to accomplish so that you can expect the same thing in return.
Love it. You love it. So it's been a common theme that we've been discussing all weekend long, and that's about mentorship. We've been talking about how mentorship is that fast track to success. And we talk about keys to Black wealth and how we deliver our services is through education, mentorship, and through programming. So what do you look for when someone comes to you and says, hey, can you mentor me? What type of expectations are you expecting from that particular person, group, or organization?
You know, mentoring is so important to me, because one of the big ways that I was able to accomplish a lot of what I accomplished was because of the mentors in my life. So shout out to Jocelyn Dabney, who was my librarian.
Shake some keys for Jocelyn.
Jocelyn Dabney, you truly changed my life, because she took some time to invest in me. She got me into speech, of course, the chess club. She got me into debate, into pageants. So I'm grateful for that. I was listening to my husband today. By the way, my husband and my mother are watching, so shout out to them.
Hey husband, hey mom.
Pastor John Allen Newman, and apparently my dog too. My husband, Pastor John Allen Newman, he is this pastor of Mount Calvary Baptist Church here in Jacksonville. We were just at an event. Our G baby just turned 1, and he spent a great deal of that time talking to a young man about mentoring him. This brother wanted to get into the movement of registering voters and empowering the community, and my husband was saying he wanted to mentor this young man at a birthday party. My point of telling you that is that I never turn down people who come to me who are serious about being mentored. They have to have 3 things in place, right? So it's the 3 M's. You have to have the M in terms of the message, meaning what do you want to accomplish? You have to have the method by which you're going to accomplish it. And then you have to have the momentum, meaning you're not looking at me to push you forward. And so if you have those 3 things, then I'm ready to mentor you. But I'm a tough mentor.
Because not surprising. That doesn't come off as a surprise.
You have to have, I send a 1-pager, you complete that 1-pager, and I'll help to get you where you need to be. But I have to say, I'm a coach, not a counselor. I'm not a therapist, but I'm going to stay on you. If you say that in a year you want to start your own business, then I'm going to make sure that you do that. I have a young woman that I'm mentoring now. She wants to be a publicist. Now, I pay my publicist a lot of money. So, and I think that I if I was younger and I knew about how much publicists get paid, between $3,000 to $5,000 per month, that I would have I would have probably gone into PR.
Right.
But if you're looking for a business, by the way, to go in, a business idea, and you're sitting at home, you should be a celebrity publicist, because
there you go.
every month I have to pay my publicist.
Yeah.
And I'm mentoring a young woman who wants to be a publicist, and she works hard. So I have taught her how to do press releases. I've taught her how to set up interviews, how to do the pre-interviews. I've taught her how to do the crisis management stuff. Some of the things I say become headlines. Oops.
That part.
Yeah.
So she has to learn how to do crisis communication, and she works, and it is hard work. That young woman, I had her first paying client. She is now being paid $1,500 a month, working for a nonprofit, because she put in the time and she put in the work. So yes, I love mentoring. I will mentor you if you reach out, but if you don't complete that 1 page where you have a vision and you have a timeline,
it's
then
over. It's over.
They going in the chat room. They going in the chat. You got to get back in there and read all these comments and everything.
Are we allowed?
Yeah, we'll take some questions. We'll do the last
questions.
15 minutes of questions.
We got somebody.
We got a surprise guest. Cue him up. He wants to ask you a question.
What's up? Omarosa's in the building, y'all, lady-o. All the way to Central State finest first lady, Miss Central State in the building. I'm one of the biggest fans. And I just want to say, we love you for God, for Central, for State.
Yeah.
We in the building. That's right. And just a little footnote. I got my keys to Black Wealth, and in 2020.
Yes,
we will make a change. Now, I have a question for you. I call her Lady O because Miss Omarosa is the first lady of all ladies, and I genuflex right now from my soul sister. We go a long way back. Now, let me ask you this question. What is some of the hardest obstacles you had to face in your journey to where you are right now?
Thank you, Sean. First of all, shout out to Sean Mac Daddy Ross. He embodies the spirit of what Central State is about. Strong, visionary, determined. Yes, Sean, what's up? Thank you for the question.
Yes, indeed.
About obstacles. First of all, my mother explained to me very, very young that life is not fair, that there's always going to be some challenge. You have to master problem solving. You have to master every single obstacle to come in your way. You cannot allow yourself to be stopped by these things. So let me tell you the first thing that I do. I put one foot in front of the other whenever there's a challenge going on. If there is, and that sounds so simple, but if you can just get up and take that first step, I promise you that God will make this. The other thing is you are equipped. Let's just look at how far we've come in life. You are equipped for everything that life throws your way. Everything. Financial ruin, you're equipped. You have to figure out a new job. You're equipped. You know how I know? Because you've done it before. You've done it before. You've seen challenges before and you've overcome them. You've seen disappointment and you've overcome them. You've had to find a way out of no way and you have overcome it. You're equipped for every single thing that comes your way, and I want you to know that.
Chat is going bananas right now.
Shake them keys. Shake them keys.
Shake them keys, man.
Shake them keys. I'm doing jumping jacks. Shaking keys, jumping jacks. Says, I love you, Omarosa. Tell Mama Rosa I love her. And tell Mr. Newman, I love him too. The other pastor, we love him. Yeah, that's right. He is to be loved.
We love, trust, and we respect you, Dr. Art Thomas.
Yes, all right. Never give up. Whatever crises are going on, never give up. That's one thing Dr. Thomas embedded upon us. Central State University convocation. That's right. I'm pumping up. I'm down. But, they got a lot of more questions for you, Omarosa. I'm not going to hold up. But I just want to say I love you. Keep doing what you're doing. We support you. We love you. Anything that we can do, we ride with you. Rock City, baby. And we got a Delta and Alpha up there. I just want to say, kills in the building. Represent. And y'all don't know Omarosa. She's a volleyball star. She does it all. Y'all better read about her. Yeah, she's athletic.
That's all we've been doing is reading about her.
Yeah, you know her. Let us get to know her.
All right, well, I'm getting out of here so y'all can get to know her. All right, peace. Love you, Omarosa.
Bye, Sean.
Oh my God, what a wonderful surprise.
Yes. We come we full of surprises. So it's a lot of people asking questions in the chat. So we need to do rapid fire, all right? Because we got a lot for you. Okay, you ready?
Yes. Wait, let me just have my nose for y'all come.
Yeah, go for it.
She ready?
Okay.
So ready, y'all. Go ahead, David.
So first, because everybody's asking this, how do they get the one sheeter? Because they all try to now. We ask that question. They're like, what's up with the one sheeter? How do we get it?
Oh, how do they reach me?
How do they get that one sheeter you're talking about that they can fill out and send to you?
It is so easy, and I'm gonna put this out there. My email is Omarosa@hotmail. Yes, old school Hotmail. But you have to put keys to Black wealth in the subject line.
Okay.
That's it. That's only for our attendees. If somebody ain't buying $30
only for attendees. I'll send the names to you all.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. And we will verify that. So y'all heard it here today. $30 investment.
So you got one, Brandy? I got one.
Go for it. I'm looking as they're coming.
Yeah, they're coming so fast. Okay, let's go to, just because it's in front of my face, Sierra Hillsman. Question: Which books, podcasts, or resources does she recommend to coaching clients?
Oh, okay. You know what, Brandy, is there any way for me to just share that with you and you can share it with the participants?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yep. Good. Yeah.
You want to send it to me? Send it to me. We got a couple of things to read.
To the folks who want it, because I have an extensive list.
Okay,
perfect. So here's a question. What are some things that she does to build her confidence before making those major deals, especially in the beginning? And that's from Brittany Hardman.
Well, the first thing is that I recognize that I win just by showing up, right? So we already started. If you already know, just by being there, you got a 50-50 chance of closing the deal just by showing up. But the second thing is, I have mastered negotiation. One of the things that I teach my executive clients is how to negotiate. And the first thing you should know is negotiation starts at no, right?
Mm-hmm.
People tell me no all the time, you know, like no all the time. That's where the negotiation begins. So you say, no, I'm not going to give you 100,000 Omarosa. And I go, would you consider in lieu of cash, these services, and then you provide these products, and we still have a deal going on.
Right.
I have mastered the art of negotiating my interest, and that's what I teach my executive clients.
That's good right there.
That's good. You got one, David?
Yep. So, we're going to keep going. We got a lot of them. This is from Tamika Jones. How have you found navigating political spaces in corporate America similar or different as a Black woman in leadership roles?
Hi, Tamika Jones. First of all, I mentioned my first company, Charles E. Smith. I was the only Black woman in Charles E. Smith. So going into the White House where I was the only African-American female senior staffer, it wasn't uncommon. One of the things that I have learned is my power as a Black woman. Like, people don't know how to deal with Black women. And if you learn to harness the power of being a strong, confident Black woman, then you really can succeed in life. Instead of being apologetic about my Blackness, I have found a way to channel that energy and make it work for me. I'm like blackity black. Like, you don't know what
Blackity black.
Come at me one way, you might get it. Like,
that part. That part.
It depends on how you come at me. And so when you ask about the political space and business space, let me just show the difference. In the corporate space, greed drives what people do, right? It's greed. And nobody wants to call it that, but the truth is people want more. And when they get it, it's still not enough. They want more and more and more. That's what I found in corporate America. When I got into government, and again, my first appointment in government was back in '97. When I got into government, power drives what people do. I'm talking about people would sell out their mamas for an appointment. And I had to learn that if you combine money and power, now you're running things. Oftentimes you see people who have elected positions, but they haven't acquired wealth. Or you have people who have wealth, but they have no access to power. Somehow, some way, we have to have access to both in order to move to the next level.
Money and power.
Money and power. So coming from Shaquana Elliott's Credit and Wealth, what is the last book you read? And do you know who you're voting for this upcoming election?
Shaquana got a double whammy. Shaquana, I have to tell you, during quarantine, this sounds so boring, so sorry. During quarantine, when I moved to Florida, I just got married a couple of years ago. I moved to Florida, and so I needed to get my Florida real estate broker's license. And so the quarantine happened, and I said, what a great time to go get the Florida version, because this is not reciprocated with the DC or the California licensees. So the last book that I read, and I'm continuing to read because I'm going to take my broker's license exam in a couple of weeks, is The Principles of Florida Real Estate. Really, really boring, but I have to. That's what I've been doing. I have really had to, like I said, stay fluid, keep pivoting, but I wanted to get into Florida real estate. It is so different than anything I've ever done. Like I said, I started in DC real estate, which is a whole world unto itself. And I dabbled in California real estate, but the Florida broker's license is probably one of the most difficult of all the real estate licenses that I've ever taken. So that's what I'm reading. And if you're at home and you're trying to figure out what to do during quarantine, for $165, you can get your real estate license.
Hey, you speaking our language. You don't.
It's all about, you know what I'm saying, increasing your knowledge gap. I say what you know, the more you know, that separates you from the rest of the people. In America, you get paid the most money when you could do something somebody else can't do, or you know something somebody else don't know. So I'm like, hey.
Preach, David.
Preach it. Hey, drop it. Hey, I need a Cash App collection. $sign David D. Berry,
I got you
all right?
keys. I got you
like your husband, you know? So we got a question from Nicole Hilton. How do we learn how to approach corporate donors?
Oh, you know what? I keep a running list, and Nicole, if you were, and hopefully you'll join my mentoring space, I find the money. Baby, let me tell you what I'm good at. Tell you what I'm really good at. I know how to find the money, right? Because I look at all of the yearly corporate reports that companies put out. Like I set aside time during my vacation time when people sitting on the beach reading books, I'm reading their annual reports. And you know what they share? Who they gave to last year.
The money.
Because who they gave to last year, it might look like an organization like mine. It may
you better get these keys.
And so I'm going to tell you something. All the information is there and available for you. It's all right there. You just have to read it. You have to make yourself sit down and read it. This year, Facebook, I own Facebook shares, and Facebook did our shareholders meeting virtually, right? I happen to like to go to shareholders meetings because I'm nosy and I like to be in the place. Plus, there ain't a whole lot of us up in there. This year, thank God, it was virtual, which required me to read a whole lot of documents that I would have probably picked up there. And one of the things that I found very interesting was that Facebook was helping to invest in all these community tech centers. And I'm like, well, is there a community tech center in Jacksonville? And then I started reading, I started on this rabbit hole of who Facebook was giving to. And they want to give money to any of these community organizations, including churches, that have after-school programs that use technology so they can help empower the community. And I discovered that by reading our annual report.
All right. So we got time for what? Maybe one more?
We're bringing the co-founders on. So we got 4 minutes. So 4 minutes, then we bringing the co-founders on, and we'll get Ms. Omarosa here. So.
Okay. So everybody's asking for the 3 M's again. Those was message, method, and momentum. Make sure y'all taking notes. Got to keep up. Got to keep up. Rapid fire. Next question is, this is from Miss Gabi. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, but I believe it's Miss Gabi. Hello, HBCU grad queen here as well. She is as well. I have a degree in business and a master's in higher education. How may I become a certified executive coach? Who has the best programs?
Oh, please email me. I already gave my email out, Omarosa@Hotmail. Howard University has an incredible program. I'm on the board of the Howard University Executive Education Program, and I would love all of you all to come become executive coaches. Please, Howard University is an excellent place to do it. And guess what? We may be doing our program completely online this year. We'll be doing it online. The other thing that we have that I want to tell you all about is we have a completely online executive MBA program at Howard University. And corporate America comes to Howard, some of it to check a box on diversity and inclusion, and they give scholarships. So if you want your MBA, sorry, I got to do this commercial because I am on the board. If you want to get an MBA as well, then you come on and look at Howard. Just email me. I'll send you the link. But the executive coaching program is through Howard University. And it's a 1-week program, although my project took about 6 months. 1 week in the class and then 6 months instructional. And it was incredible because I thought I knew everything about coaching because I had been doing it without the certification. But really, the program helped me to structure how to help people achieve goals in non-traditional ways. Because you have a lot of successful folks on here, B. But the truth of the matter is we have to redefine what success is, right? So you can have millions and millions of dollars and not be healthy right now. And we know that health is wealth. And that means that you're not being successful. So I have to help my clients redefine what success is to them and what it means. And all of that I learned through my program. I love the Mecca. And so if you want to come and be a part of our program, I will send you all the information. It's the Howard University Executive MBA program, 1 year online, and we have scholarships.
Oh, take the keys. So I think we got to cut the questions off there. We got.
Are we out of time?
We'll bring the founders up while we ask this last question. So founders up. We got one more question from.
We got some other special guests. Omarosa. There they go. Yeah.
So, these are co-founders. These are co-founders, Frank Cage and Lamar Pugsley. So let's get to another question before we talk. So
I got a question too, for sure.
One more question from the
chat. Yes. So how do you balance this from Brittany Eddy? How do you balance the political realm against messages that may not be intricate to who you are as a person?
That's such a good question because, I mean, the elephant in the room is that I worked in the whitest White House in history, right?
White.
But we have to remember that relationship started in the business realm and then it ended up in politics. The messaging is that I know who I am, but I also know whose I am. That God is the center of my life. And no matter where I've been, it does not define me. My life's work is defined by how many people I'm able to help and bless. Right? That's what defines me, not because I work for this person or that person. It's because of how many people I'm able to touch and how many people I am able to assist on this journey. This life is not meant to be a solo journey, and I don't intend to do it alone either.
All right, so we're gonna let the co-founders get a couple questions in and go for it, Frank and Lamar.
Frank, am I gonna get sweatshirts? Can I get one of them keys to success t-shirts that B has on? I mean,
just need your address. It's coming in the mail. We
got you. So my question is, I mean, obviously we see a lot of these companies, as you were stating, getting into that diversity and inclusion. I guess what would be the way to kind of separate yourself as being the go-to person for a company?
So I've been doing D&I. I mean, I have been doing D&I for a long time. The language of diversity and inclusion is a science. I consider it just like political science is a science. D&I is a science. And so really, the folks on here are so smart. You could read one book on D&I and know how to package and position all of the ideas that you have for corporate America. Here are the two essential things that they want to figure out. They want to figure out how to create environments that are conducive for their employees to thrive and to grow, but they also want their products to be sold to diverse groups because the bottom line is the bottom line. It's about money. And so if you can position yourself as a D&I person in order to improve their profits, and to create environments that people can work in, then you win. But because we don't learn the language, and by we, I mean the proverbial we don't learn the language of D&I, it's hard to pitch a project to people who are looking for people to teach them how to be inclusive. That's why a lot of these companies come to Howard University. Because we, in our business program, we teach folks to go into environments where there's not going to be anybody else that look like you.
Yeah.
Right. And that's hard.
Yeah.
We also empower you with the tools that you need to do that and to navigate that. And it really is a skill to learn, but it's not hard. I'm telling you, it's not hard. And I have a book on that list that I'm going to send over to Brandy that I want you to share with folks because I have two of them that I'm thinking. But I'm not promoting anybody else's book right now because I want y'all to buy Unhinged. But I will. And I said on my promotion, Brandy, that I would sign,
Yes, it's in there. Yeah, so just so everyone knows, after we finish with this, check out Omarosa's vendor table. She does have a promotion in there. And then also, I want to throw a little something out. I'm not even asking my co-founders. If you get 3 people, the first 3 people to get 3 people to sign up and join the summit now, purchase a ticket, all 3 of you will get a copy of her book on Keys to Black Wealth. So 3 people, you got to bring 3 people. They got to drop your name. 3 people.
Ooh.
Oh, I love it. You go.
Yep. Go ahead, Frank. Get your question in. I know you've been waiting.
This was amazing. Thank you for just gracing us with your presence. The keys that you've dropped, like I'm in awe right now. This was super dope. I am a creative by heart, graphic design by trade. And with that being said, I have my own sort of creative philosophy of creating from a space of who you are versus what you do. So when you were hitting in that branding element, like it really was connecting with me. One particular piece that you said, you brought in sort of your history and sort of the response that your mother had at the loss of your father. And so my question for you, because as we begin to talk, elaborate on that a little bit more, I've seen some correlation of her response in that situation and how I feel that was a pivotal point in your brand, in your identity. There's a proverb that speaks. I got so many notes.
Frank, you got time, but I think
no, we don't got time, Frank. We're on the schedule. We need to ask the question.
Okay, all right, I'm getting to it. there's a proverb that speaks, you know, a good name is worth more than gold. Okay, so my question as it relates to that is, how has your faith from a child all the way up until now sort of helped elevate you to where you are now?
Thank you so much, Frank, because I anytime I have a chance to talk to people about Christ, I can't miss it, because truly it is the sweetest thing that I know. There's no way that a girl from Youngstown Projects on welfare, Section 8, all of that, can end up not once but twice in the White House advising the most powerful man in the world. I mean, when you think about that, that can be nothing but God, right? And his hand is all over my life. I am a product of prayer. My mother prayed for me. My grandmother prayed for me. My aunties prayed for me. And I know that I'm a product of that faith. But let me just, two things before we go. There's a study called, there's a field of study we all know called post-traumatic syndrome, right? And this post-traumatic syndrome comes out of you having something horrible happen to you and your reaction and response to it. But there is also a field of study called post-traumatic growth syndrome. Where you come out of a situation that has been so painful and so difficult, but instead of crumbling, you grow and you thrive, because you take those shattered pieces and you build some beautiful mosaic out of it. And so I have focused not on that traumatic experience as something that has broken me down, but something that has allowed me to grow and thrive from. So Frank, if you look at the body of literature in post-traumatic growth syndrome, then I believe that you too will be blessed.
Thank you.
Perfect. So Omarosa, thank you so much for your time. We greatly appreciate it. Hopefully you will enjoy the rest of the weekend with us.
Andy,
I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. I was getting feedback. Everybody in the chat, they have a lot of questions. So hopefully Omarosa will join us. Y'all put some respect on her name. Go spam social media right now.
If you follow me on social media, I'll follow you back. I'm at Omarosa on Twitter, Facebook, Snap, you name it, TikTok. I'm at Omarosa. I own that.
Own it. Go spam her right now. Put some respect on her name. You heard it here first. Keys to Black Wealth. It's been official. Omarosa, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time.
Drop them keys, y'all.
Drop them keys.
Drop them keys. Hey, that was dope. We don't even got time to recap. We got to go right into the entertainment, and then the closing speaker. Hey, y'all better have a whole notebook.
Oh, I gotta put that thing out there again. The offer is if you get 3 people in, you get a book. Not them 3, you for doing the work, not those 3 individuals. So if you, one person, brings 3 people in, show us that proof, you will get a book.
Yep.
So bring 3 people.
So we're bringing up this guy, man. This is man. I've known this brother for many, many years, man. We would not be having this virtual summit if we did not get linked up with this guy who got us linked up with another guy who got us linked up with another guy. You know, so we shaking these keys from my man right here. We need y'all to unmute yourself, and we about to turn it up right now for this next little 15 minutes before we bring up our closing speaker. So everybody drop those keys, drop those 7s in the chat for my man, Sonny Campbell in the band.
Hey.
Hope y'all have a good time. We about to drop the keys too. Man. Shout out to the Black Wealth. We going up. Surrounded by the people, I got them forever. I've been home alone with no time putting in their face. Jails and diamonds with my niggas out of cages. Get so much shit I've been through, so whole kind I can take it. I'm so entertained. I said I fall. My country telling me to keep on going, I don't never stop. Aware about the bullshit. I'm too real, I know it. These bitches, they choose, man. Big girl, I'm a big girl. Young nigga been right. Young nigga live a bad life. I just want to get my cash right. I ain't never had nothing. Make something out of nothing. You probably for me. I ain't never ever rushing. Nobody that I'm trusting. Trap boy, that land on, Bobando, police, I stand up. I ain't raining on, memories to us. I ain't lying to go. It can ride on the go. It can ride on the go. Was a bad man, started from my half-word, turned into an athlete. And the love for the music, keep them balanced, make it tough to get a mileage of an album. Make it press the record house. Storefront full of merchandise. Shit ain't start on perfect, but it's working right. Yeah, started off with me working, now we certified. Trying to get a million for 35. If you can't come up on the finish line, it's like the words that we recognize. Yeah, keep the younger brothers out of Lebanon. Put Italians on the head to take a fair rap. With the campus, it's a rare sign. Yeah. Niggas came from the underground. And never been prepared for the running round. Had to grab a couple pounds, go and fucking down. Had to do something in another time. They put some shit together and they understand. On the road for the show, now it's 100,000. Always do that every half a day is coming down. Trap boy, that land on, Bobando, police, I stand up. I ain't calling cramming up. I ain't running up. Memories to us. I ain't lying to what's up. They can ride on the bus. Trap boy, that land on, Bobando, I stand up. I ain't running up. Memories to us. I ain't lying to what's up. They can ride on the bus. They can ride on the bus. They can ride on the bus. I ain't running up. I ain't lying to what's up. They can ride on the bus. They can ride on the bus. They can ride on the bus. Give it up for CBH President. Yeah, talk, man. CBH President 12 times on Instagram. Check him out. Let's go. We got Angel coming to the stage. If you was at the last Keep the Black Wealth event, I know you remember Angel Right.
So to me, can't you see how it's our destiny? I just wanna go away, so let me go away. Take it to another place, maybe this is all it's like. I'm on another level, and I'm going out you. Something's pulling me closer and back to you. It's too good to be true. I'm in love, but I guess I gotta go and find out for myself. Why do you make me feel this way? Constantly hypnotizing me, feeling like I'm on next to say. What baby knows I don't think to say. Cause you gotta give my feelings.
the time, you gotta make it your mind. Don't play games with the time and I'ma sign out. Let go. You gotta be vulnerable to the next goal. You gotta know what you want. And we can let the next go. Keep it in the business up and let the next roll. Keep the bitches out your business and respect her. Having arguments less and having sex more. I'ma serve and protect yours. In return, you learn that I'm the one you place your bets on. I'd rather wake up with you than be slept on. You say you got it bad for me. Well, I shouldn't have to ask for what you have for me. Don't be afraid of your past and hit your gas on me. Stay in your
but you put up on mine like that. I wanna get a little better, baby. That's why everything you tell me, feelings right.
Yeah, how bad we got it. We got one more for y'all before we get up out of here. You know, happy Father's Day to all the fathers, all the kids taking care of their kids. You know what I'm saying? We need as many kings as we can, you know, we need them. We need all the kings. So stand up, take care of your kids. And this song for all the soldiers. Let's go. For my niggas on the west side. This is for my niggas on the south side. This is for my niggas on the north side. This is for my niggas on the east side. This is for my niggas on the west side. This is for my niggas on the south side. This is for my niggas on the north side. This is for my niggas on the east side. And I ain't going to the east side. You see me going that east side. Red blood TV on the street side. Niggas throw up the dub in the east side. Everybody gang bang, good bang. I'm used to fucking up a good gang. I got niggas on the street of pressure. Keep the charges, you know this thing I'm gonna live in. They protecting these divisions. Ball got to come down and referees filling up. It's over. You can live for my niggas from the west side. This is for my niggas from the south side. This is for my niggas from the north side. This is for my niggas on the east side. And you know we got the tools too, and we be fighting for the life. We never know what we do. It's Black Friday and full on your anthem and national. You come up with a new toy. OG riding in the Cadillac new school. OG still enough to educate the new fools. You can't separate it. I don't know what you want, what don't nobody know what you're doing. Go down to my young fools. You to the car, break them out to make it go. The people's in the hate, truth. If you take the Cadillac, we'll be in the truth. If I leave it like, you know what's going to lose. Something this, I gotta fight. I ain't the rules. They never take me alive off of that clock. It's either shoot first, like I said, I'm shot. Like, for my niggas on the west side, for my niggas on the south side, for my niggas on the north side, for my niggas on the east side, for my niggas on the west side, for my niggas on the south side, for my niggas on the north side, for my niggas on the line. Appreciate everybody who tuned in. Still in house, man. Sunny Carl, man. Thank y'all.
We see you, Mr. Campbell. Hey, where can everybody find y'all at? How can they book y'all? Where can they get more info?
Everybody can find me. I got a website.